Good morning, and welcome to our show, Mind Matters. It's wonderful to have you with us today. Today, we're exploring a question that affects all of us, in our personal and professional lives. The question is this: is it better to learn from our successes or our failures? This is a topic with many different opinions, and we have two excellent guests here to share their views. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Ben Carter. He's a psychologist who has spent years studying how people grow and develop. Dr. Carter believes that failure is our greatest teacher. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here.
And joining us is Anna Petrova, a highly respected business coach known for helping leaders and teams achieve their goals. Anna argues that success provides a clearer and more effective path for learning. Welcome, Anna.
Hello, Sarah. I'm excited for our discussion.
We have two very strong, opposing viewpoints today, and I'm sure this will be a fascinating conversation. To begin, I'd like to invite Dr. Carter to share his opening statement. Ben, why do you believe failure is such an important teacher?
Thank you, Sarah. I believe that failure provides lessons that are deeper and more meaningful than the lessons from success. When we succeed at something, especially if we succeed easily, we often don't stop to think about it. We feel happy, and then we just move on to the next thing. But when we fail, the experience forces us to stop. It makes us pause and ask important questions. What went wrong? Why did it happen? What could I do differently next time? This process of analysis and reflection is where true learning happens. It's not just about knowing what to do, it's about understanding why things work the way they do. Furthermore, failure builds strength and character. Life is full of challenges, and we cannot avoid them. Every time we face a setback and decide to try again, we build our resilience, we learn patience, and we develop the important ability to bounce back from difficult situations. Think about a simple, universal example. A child learning to ride a bicycle. Does the child learn by succeeding on the first try? Almost never. The child gets on the bike, wobbles, and falls. That fall is a small failure, but it's also a piece of information. With each fall, the child's brain learns something new about balance, about speed, about how to turn the handlebars. The process of falling down and getting back up again and again is what teaches the child the complex skill of riding a bike. The failures are essential to the final success. For this reason, I see failure not as the opposite of success, but as a critical and necessary part of the journey toward success. It's the teacher that asks the most from us, and therefore gives the most in return.
Thank you, Ben, for that compelling argument. Now let's hear the other side. Anna, you believe that success is actually the better teacher. Please share your perspective with us.
Of course, Sarah. While I respect Ben's viewpoint, I believe that focusing on success is a more powerful and efficient way to learn and grow. My first point is about motivation. The feeling of success is incredibly positive and encouraging. When you achieve something, you feel confident and capable. This positive feeling motivates you to take on the next challenge and continue learning. It creates a positive cycle of achievement and growth. On the other hand, constant failure can be very discouraging. It can make people feel anxious, and it can destroy their confidence. For many people, too much failure leads them to give up entirely. My second point is that success provides a clear model for what works. When you succeed, you create a map or a recipe that you can follow again in the future. Learning from success is about identifying positive actions and repeating them. It's about building on a strong foundation. Let me offer a different example. Imagine you're learning to bake a cake. You find a good recipe, you follow the instructions carefully, and the cake turns out perfectly on your first try. In that moment, you've learned the correct process. You have a model for success. You didn't need to bake a burnt cake or a cake that didn't rise to understand how to do it right. Now you can use that successful experience to bake the same cake again with confidence. You can even build on that success, perhaps by trying a more complex recipe next time. In business and in life, efficiency is important. Why spend time analyzing what's wrong when you can learn much faster by studying what's right? Focusing on success allows us to move forward with confidence and a clear direction.
Thank you, Anna. You've presented a very strong case for learning from success. Now we come to the part of the show where we can discuss these ideas directly. Anna, I'd like to start with you. Ben made the point that failure builds essential character and resilience. Do you disagree with that?
I don't disagree that resilience is important. It is a valuable quality. However, I think we need to be careful about how we think it develops. Ben's example of the child on the bike is good, but it's a controlled situation. In real life, especially in a career or in business, failures can be much bigger and more damaging. Too much failure, or a very big failure, can completely destroy a person's confidence. It can lead to a fear of taking any risks at all. I believe that success is what builds the confidence needed to handle failure. When you have a history of successes, you have a strong belief in your own abilities. So when a failure does happen, you see it as a temporary problem, not a personal disaster. You have the strength to try again, because you know you're capable of succeeding. For every one person who becomes stronger from failure, I believe there are many others who simply quit. Success is the fuel that keeps the engine of ambition running.
That's an interesting point. Confidence from past successes can help us survive future failures. Ben, let me turn to you. Anna argues that learning from success is more efficient and provides a clearer, more direct guide for what to do. Is she wrong about that?
She's not wrong that success can feel more efficient in the short term. Following a, quote, success map, as she called it, seems easy and direct. But I believe this can be a trap. The world is constantly changing. A map that worked yesterday might be useless today. If you only learn by repeating past successes, you become inflexible. You don't develop the ability to adapt when the situation changes. What happens when you face a problem that isn't on your map? The most important problem-solving skills are not learned when things go perfectly. They are learned when things go wrong. Failure teaches you to think on your feet, to be creative, and to find new solutions. It prepares you for the unexpected. Relying only on success does not.
But in the practical world, Ben, people and companies model themselves on success. In the business world, we perform competitor analysis by studying the most successful companies in our field. We look at what the market leaders are doing right, and we try to learn from them. We don't spend our time studying the companies that have gone bankrupt. That would be seen as a waste of time.
I see your point, Anna, but I think that is a perfect example of the danger I'm talking about. Companies study today's successes, but they often ignore the lessons from yesterday's failures. Think about companies like Nokia in the mobile phone industry, or Blockbuster in video rentals. They were incredibly successful. They had the map for success and they followed it perfectly, but their past success made them blind. They were unable to see that the world was changing with the introduction of smartphones and streaming services. Their failure to adapt provided a powerful lesson for every other business in the world. Success can make you complacent. The lessons from their failure are far more important than the lessons from their earlier success.
That's a fair point about large companies. But what about for an individual person, maybe someone starting a new career? Are you suggesting they should try to fail? I would argue that early successes are critical. A young employee needs to successfully complete tasks to build a good reputation and gain the trust of their colleagues and managers. A series of early failures could get them fired. They need that foundation of success to even have a career where they can later afford to take a risk and possibly fail.
I'm not suggesting that people should try to fail. The goal is always to succeed. But we must change our relationship with failure when it happens. We should not see it as a shameful endpoint. We should see it as a data point, a piece of information. A manager who creates a safe environment where employees can report mistakes without fear is creating a learning organization. That organization will be more innovative and adaptable than one where everyone is afraid to admit when something goes wrong. So it's not about seeking failure, but about accepting it as part of the process of innovation and growth.
This has been a very rich discussion. We're nearing the end of our time, so I'd like to ask you both for your closing statements. Please summarize your position for our audience. Anna, let's begin with you.
Thank you, Sarah. To summarize my position, I believe that while failure can teach us things, success is the more powerful, positive, and motivating teacher. Success provides a clear, repeatable model for achievement. It shows us what works, allowing us to build our skills efficiently and effectively. More importantly, success builds the confidence we need to face new challenges. It creates a positive cycle of growth where each achievement fuels our desire for the next one. While we should not ignore our mistakes, our primary focus should be on understanding and repeating our successes. My final message is this: study what works. Success leaves clues.
Thank you, Anna. And now, Ben, your final thoughts on why we should learn from failure.
My position is that the most valuable and lasting lessons come from our mistakes. Success is pleasant, but failure is profoundly instructive. Failure forces us to stop, to think critically, and to analyze our assumptions. It teaches us to adapt to a changing world and makes us stronger and more resilient. Failure is not something to be avoided at all costs. It is a necessary and unavoidable part of any meaningful journey, whether in science, art, business, or our personal lives. It is through our struggles that we truly learn what we are capable of. My final message would be, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid of not learning when you do.
Thank you, Dr. Ben Carter, and thank you, Anna Petrova, for such an insightful and balanced debate. It seems clear that there's value in both perspectives. Perhaps the key is finding a balance. We can use our successes to fuel our motivation and build our confidence, while using our failures to deepen our understanding and build our resilience. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you to our audience for listening to Mind Matters.